Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the May 23rd meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council. And we are actually continuing a special meeting that began at 5:45 concurrent with tonight's general City Council meeting. And I'd like to ask you to all rise and join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Daniels.
Here.
Councilmember Middleton. Here. Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Vice Mayor Slowey.
Present.
And Mayor Bruins.
Present.
Tonight's meeting of the Citrus Heights City Council is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. This meeting is closed captioned and webcast at citrusheights.net. Tonight's meeting replays on Monday, May 27th at 9 a.m. and again on Wednesday, May 29th at 6 p.m. on Channel 14. And a DVD copy is available for checkout from any library branch.
Okay, thank you. And next item, please.
Next item is approval of agenda, and I would just like to note that staff has requested to pull item 12 from the agenda.
Okay, so we will pull item 12, and that leaves the rest of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda minus item 12. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, it carries. Next item.
Next item is presentation number 4, a presentation by the Sacramento Yolo Mosquito and Vector Control District.
Where's our mosquito?
Okay, do we have someone here from the, here, Gary?
Hello, good evening. My name is Samer Alkashef. I'm with the Sacramento Yolo Mosquito and Vector Control District. I'll be sharing with you today some information on our programs and happy to take questions afterwards
Okay.
or during. You're the boss. All right, so what I want to do today is go over, like I said, our program and give you a little bit of a feedback on what we experienced last year as far as mosquito abundance goes and West Nile virus activity. So to start things off, just a description of the area we serve. We serve both Sacramento and Yolo counties. So Sacramento County, primarily a residential urban area with 1.4 million residents, and Yolo County, a primarily agricultural area with another 300,000 residents, making us quite a diverse district. In Yolo County, like I said, primarily agriculture. We deal with a lot of rice fields as the main culprit of mosquito breeding, whereas areas in Sacramento County, such as Citrus Heights, a lot of urban sources, such as catch basins, and backyard sources, such as the ponds, swimming pools, and fountains, things of that nature. So here's an example of some of our habitats we have on the screen. So over here we have some of our agricultural sources and wetlands. On the top right we have a rice field over here. And then we have some of our wetlands over here that we regularly monitor and treat. And when we look at our urban backyard sources, which is what we're dealing with a lot here in Citrus Heights, we have swimming pools that are unmaintained, buckets, rain barrels, tires, potted plants. These are all habitats that mosquitoes can breed in. As far as how we approach mosquito control, we practice what's called integrated mosquito management, which starts with our public information program. We go out to schools, we do meetings such as these, we go to public events, so you'll see us at many of the events within your city and the county at large, to disseminate information to residents, distribute repellent, things of that nature. And then we go into surveillance. Surveillance entails the detection of mosquitoes through trapping, so this would be adult mosquitoes. We take those adult mosquitoes back to our lab and we test them for the prevalence of West Nile virus. That's the main virus that we are looking to curb the spread of and infection in humans too. And then as far as controlling those mosquito populations, once we get the information from the field from our surveillance program, we have biological control. So that's the use of mosquito fish, which are highlighted right over here. We can put those into rice fields, swimming pools, any source that will hold water for a long period of time. And those mosquitoes can actually feed on mosquito larvae and help control those populations. When we can, our ecological management department will go out and try to drain any standing water sources. So the removal of standing water is one of our missions, and that's the charge of our ecological management department. They're also responsible for working with landowners on best management practices, so that happens a lot in our agricultural areas. And then when biological control or source reduction isn't available, then we move to chemical control. That could be the use of larvicides to kill mosquitoes in the water, which is our preferred mode of killing mosquitoes. But we can't get to every single mosquito source as much as we'd like to. So that's when we do adult mosquito control. So that includes things like barrier treatments and then our fogging applications, our ULV applications. And we have some images over here of different, our IPM program. So on the top right over here, we have one of our booths from a public event, our mosquito fish from our biological control program. Here's some BMPs being established through our ecological management department, and then some mosquito treatments being done for tree holes over here in the middle, part of our chemical control program. All right, so like I mentioned, we're interested from a public health angle because of West Nile virus can be spread through mosquitoes, and mosquitoes that are very common to our area. So that is the main, most prevalent of disease that mosquitoes can transmit in the United States. And because the Sacramento area is rife with trees, trees are very attractive to birds, and birds are actually the source of West Nile virus. Us humans tend to be an accidental or an opportunistic feeding by a mosquito. So what happens is the birds come in, mosquitoes will feed off of those birds as they're the preferred blood meal source of these mosquito species that transmit West Nile virus. And then if humans tend to be in the area, we'll be opportunistically fed on by these mosquitoes, and that's how the virus moves from the bird to the human. The human is the dead end host, which means that we can't be, so the virus can't transmit from human to human. So it goes from bird to human, and the virus, in a sense, dies with us.
Where do horses, aren't they involved in this cycle somewhere?
Yeah, so just like with humans, horses can be infected, again, bird to mosquito, mosquito to horse, and the horse is a dead-end host. West Nile virus can be very detrimental to mammals like us or horses. That's why there's recommendation for vaccinating horses. If you do own a horse, there's a West Nile vaccine. However, there's no vaccine for humans for West Nile virus, which is why mosquito control is paramount for controlling that virus. And there's also no cure to the virus as well. Other viruses that aren't in our area, thankfully, are things like dengue, chikungunya, Zika. Those are all spread by a mosquito that we don't have in our area as of yet, although this mosquito has been moving from Southern California to Northern California, and it's as close as Merced, so about 2 counties away we have that mosquito. So we have a very active program looking for that mosquito to make sure if we do have it, we can be on the lookout for these diseases should they pop up in our area. Malaria is also a disease of concern in mosquitoes. We do have a mosquito that can transmit malaria within our district boundaries, but malaria has been reported in the United States locally since the 1950s. So we are safe from that disease. One disease of note I want to mention for the dog owners out there is dog heartworm. That is spread by a mosquito we have locally here, commonly known as the tree hole mosquito. So make sure that you use the proper treatments on your dogs to prevent that disease from spreading to them. So a little bit more information on West Nile virus activity in California. Last year we had 218 human cases. When we deal with reported cases, they tend to be severely underestimated. About 80% of the people who contract West Nile virus have very mild to no symptoms. And then the 218 cases that are reported are the more severe forms of the disease. And that's when the disease invades your nervous system and can cause things like paralysis, blindness, and even death. So these numbers tend to be underrepresented. So over here, what I have, for example, 218, according to CDC calculations, can be anywhere from 6,000 to 15,000 actual human cases.
And those seem to be trending down, but with the recent rains, do you expect?
So the rains is interesting. So if you look at the graph over here, 2016 was another year of a lot of rain, and we had 442 cases of West Nile virus. The thing about the rain is it creates more breeding for mosquitoes, and some studies have shown that when you have more water, you tend to have less virus activity, and that's because the birds are attracted to water and mosquitoes breed in water. If you have more water, the birds can actually disperse into more areas. When you have less water, like in the drought years we had, there's less water available, so the birds tend to congregate against that limited water supply. And because there is that limited water supply, all the mosquitoes are breeding in that same water as well. So drought years have been shown to be more problematic for West Nile virus because the birds and mosquitoes are in close contact and that virus can circulate very quickly.
Interesting.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. Oops, sorry. So here's a map of last year's West Nile activity in Citrus Heights. We had about 17 positive mosquito samples for West Nile virus out of the city proper, which is highlighted in purple. You can, which is those red dots. You can see red dots on the outside of the city of Citrus Heights as well. So this area in northern Sacramento County was pretty active for mosquito activity. And then also what I have is we also had 10 positive dead birds that we tested positive for West Nile virus as well. So we monitor the bird population as a sentinel for early detection of West Nile virus. Like I mentioned, the birds bring in the disease and then the mosquitoes pick it up. So a fairly active West Nile season last year. However, we did not have to use our application of last resort, which is flying an airplane over an urban area to bring down the adult population and the infection rate very quickly. So we were able to get a handle on it by our ground-based larviciding and adult mosquito control activity. So 2019, what to expect? Well, it's not only has been a wet winter, but it's been a wet spring. So like I mentioned, that brings a lot of standing water sources into the area. So we're expecting to see an increase in the adult mosquito population. We have yet to figure out what that means for the virus activity in the area. We started testing for virus at the beginning of May, and to date we haven't detected any virus activity. And no dead birds have tested positive as well, which is a good sign because the birds tend to come positive first, and then a couple weeks to a month later, that's when the mosquitoes start to become positive. And that's really when we have an increased threat level to have the virus transmit to humans. So we also have our ongoing surveillance for those mosquitoes that can spread dengue, chikungunya, and Zika, these scarier viruses that tend to get more media attention. So like I said, those mosquitoes have been found up to 2 counties away. To date, no detections here in Sacramento or Yolo counties, so knock on wood, we won't get them this year. And finally, what can folks do to avoid, getting this disease? One, drain their standing water in your property. Do a walk around your home, maybe once a month or so, especially after it rains. If you're going to be outdoors around dawn and dusk, that's when these mosquitoes are more active. So try to avoid being outdoors. If you are outdoors, try to dress with long sleeves and pants when you're outside. Also, if you're going to be outdoors during those hours, wear mosquito repellent. We give out repellent by the pallet to residents. So if you are having an event, give us a call and we'll be more than happy to provide repellent to you. Make sure that your doors are in good working condition and all your window screens are in good working condition so those mosquitoes can't fly into your house and bite you when you're at home. And then last but not least, give us a call. We're a free service. We're paid through property taxes. So if you're having mosquito issues, give us a call, and that's our job. We're we're mandated to come and help mitigate against any mosquito diseases and any nuisance they can cause. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time and leave up our contact information. We also have a new website where you can go online, sign up for spray notifications, subscribe to our press releases, and then also you can reach us by giving us a call as well.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much for coming out tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you
Appreciate
for having me.
All right. We all good? Okay.
Good?
All right,
All right,
thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Next item is presentation number 5, a presentation by the Greater Sacramento Economic Council.
Well, good evening. While they pull up the presentation, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. My name is Danielle Casey. I'm the Executive Vice President with the Greater Sacramento Economic Council, and I just have to make a comment. So I'm a former government employee. I spent 13 years in the local government sector, and I actually got my start in a very small community that was newly incorporated. And it was such a new community that one of my first jobs was writing the city's first press release ever on West Nile virus. So that was very endearing. Anyway, again, I'm with the Greater Sacramento Economic Council team. Barry Broom sends his regards. He is traveling, and so this gives me a chance again to enjoy some community interaction, which I miss a little bit sometimes. All right, well, I'm going to tell everyone a little bit about our organization tonight. You do have some copies of our return on investment reports in front of you, and we have a copy to the clerk and I think a few in the back. And this is just information about and I'll get to it in the slides for the public in just a few minutes. But that's something that we've traditionally provided later in the year, and I thought it was important to make sure to get this to you now as we're presenting. And we'll give you an update in a few months as well, once the fiscal year is actually concluded. But for the benefit of those here tonight, a little bit about our public-private partnership, which is what Greater Sacramento Economic Council is. We serve the 6-county region and also have 14 member municipalities and local communities. And when we look at our board representation, I think it's important to also note that we have 44 CEOs on our board. We have 20 cities and counties. But in terms of investment, we're about 80% private investment and 21% public investment. So the great thing is all of our communities have an equal seat and quite a bit of influence and participation in this organization, but we are also leaning more on that private sector investment, which is what we always like, I think, with our P3s. Some of our internal organizational pillars, and I like to mention this because people sometimes wonder what is it that those GSEC people are doing running around all the time talking about economic development. And again, previously sitting on the other side as a community that was part of regional economic development organizations, I had the same question. So we do 4 primary things internally. We do engagement, obviously, because we are a nonprofit. We work with our board members. We work with our members of councils, and these are industry advisory councils. We have the Economic Development Directors Task Force, and I would actually like to, thank also all of your staff, especially your city manager and Megan Huber, who is on the team, newly on the team. You're unbelievably lucky to have her. She's a tremendous talent, is extremely involved, and I will tell you, represents Citrus Heights exceptionally well and make sure that your community is always spoken up for when we're talking about regional issues. But that's the Economic Development Directors Task Force. We meet once a month, and all of our economic developers hear about all the projects and activities that we're working on for the region, have a chance to help guide that for us, provide input and feedback. And then we also have community programs and events so that we can engage the community and educate them on what we're doing and keep everyone involved. So that's the piece, that's an operational piece, and that also helps us with our investment and fundraising. But we really focus significantly on research. Without good research and a value proposition, we can't drive data that then helps make the argument for the rest of what we're doing, right? So Barry would say that everything we do is evidence-based, and that's absolutely factual. So we take all of that research that we do, and then we turn that into marketing and PR to tell our story regionally, to build a brand, which definitely still continues to need some work. We'll get into that. I don't think you're ever done with building a brand, especially nationally and internationally for a region. And then that also leads into our business development efforts. So we have great marketing and PR, but that is also being used to help leverage and drive lead generation and attraction of companies into the region. And then we do quite a bit of business development work there with deal closing and other job creation work. So a lot of steps involved in there, but suffice to say, we're out there drumming up new leads, and then we're also responding to inquiries that are interested in locating in the region. And economies are regional. This is something that we like to point out because it is so important. You certainly can't put a fence around any community. When you look at the numbers, 13.1% of Citrus Heights residents actually live and work in the city. That means the balance of your residents are working elsewhere. And so as we drive employment anywhere in the region, company locates in one community, people in another are employed, and backwards and forwards. One of the things that we do want to focus on, though, is getting more jobs and more employers closer to where people live. That cuts down on commute time, increases quality of life, et cetera. So that's one of the reasons we're here. But 56.8% of your workforce do live in Greater Sacramento. So again, all communities experience varying levels of growth when we locate companies into the region. And so we do have some really fantastic, they are based on a number of assumptions, but from people way smarter than I am, economists and such, that can create, when we use predictive models to get a good idea, and generally they're fairly accurate in terms of what that impact is to a community, and you'll see that in your ROI reports. Some of the target industry initiatives that we have been focused on, and these are just some highlights, are food and agriculture. Obviously, this region is extremely strong in this industry. We have a Food and Agricultural Council, and that's made up of people from the higher educational institutions, from the private businesses in the region, et cetera, and other thought leaders, because there are a large number of tradable jobs. There's significant growth in this industry, and not just looking at traditional food and ag, but what's happening, for example, in food and ag tech and other technologies, vertical farming, et cetera. So we're focusing on that. We're also looking at health and life sciences. With 150,000 regional jobs, there are things like Aggie Square that are under development, if you're familiar with this project. And while that development is going to be located within the city of Sacramento, we see that as something that is going to spur and drive jobs and help us attract new companies throughout the region. So we're very excited about that. And then things like Future Automotive, which is a strategy to look at us becoming really a hub for advanced mobility spinoffs. And so we've got a lot of material on this if you're interested in digging in. Really, really fascinating work. So getting into our return on investment, again, there is a shared economic impact of job growth. And so when we look at the companies that we have worked to locate in the region, and this is just since July 1 of 2018, so again, not even a full fiscal year, what that means when we look at our economic models on the impact, because there's direct and indirect impact, this essentially means 82 jobs affecting Citrus Heights, about $386,000 of tax revenue, and then $11 million of total economic output. All of the work that we've done this year and the companies that we've worked with to influence to bring to the region accounts to about $1.1 billion in total economic output. That's direct and indirect. So really, when you break it down, what that means is we estimate an 11-to-1 return on investment. So every dollar that Citrus Heights has invested in Greater Sacramento, there's been an 11-fold return to the community. So we're really proud of that and excited about it. We have also circulated 16 requests to all of our communities in the region. So we call these E-Tracks. What this means is a request for information from a company that is exploring the region, and we share those with all of our communities. And so Citrus Heights was able to respond because you had the sites and the properties that actually met the qualifications for 2 of those. So some of the things that we do, and we work with your community and work with Megan, is to figure out how do we help your community become more competitive so that you can respond to more inquiries and so that we can bring in more inquiries that fit your community. This is our overall action plan achievements year to date. So obviously we're blowing some of our numbers out of the water. We're really excited about that. Our metrics and our goals are actually set by our board of directors that your city manager sits on, and that's set at our board retreat every year. So these are just some fun little facts and figures about some of the things that we've achieved so far this year. And then I'm also, again, coming from local community, I'm very excited about the new tools and resources. So we also see ourselves as an extension. We want the communities to see ourselves as an extension of your staff, right? Local communities, especially a community the size of Citrus Heights, you certainly can't afford, or it wouldn't, I don't think it would pass a lot of muster if you said we want an economic development staff of 15, right? But not quite. But please think of our team as an extension of your team, there to support Megan and help everyone. And we're there to answer inquiries. In fact, we actually track, I'd say on any average week, probably 3 to 5 communities in the region reach out to us and they say, hey, we're putting together our community prospectus. Can you pull together a whole bunch of information for us? Can you do this? Can you do that? And we pride ourselves in turning that around very quickly and being supportive. I think I'm going to mention Sunrise Mall at some point, and we worked with Megan just to put together a briefing. We had four researchers pull together and get every bit of information that they could about your new property owner for that site, and all kinds of information just to help save staff time and provide you additional resources. So one thing that we're doing is we're launching a new community website. It's nearly completed. It should be soft launched by the end of June. And what we're doing is creating a way to really feature our local communities more, so that when you go to the Citrus Heights Economic Development page on our site, it is just as robust and interactive and beautiful and updated as any other communities page on our site, and one that you can also use to link to for all of your own economic development content. And then we're also designing things like flyers and brochures and materials. So again, when we represent our communities, all the communities in the region have equal footing and equal representation, and also look really shiny and slick too. And then we also have a really fantastic tool. It's an online commercial sites database and proposal management tool. Those are a lot of words, but essentially what this is if you go to greatersacramentosites.com, and we're still working with commercial real estate folks to get more properties loaded in here, but it's a public-facing site where all of your commercial properties in the community are going to be visible and are going to be shown there, but it's not just a listing database. If you look at a property location or any location on the map in your community, you can run free reports immediately on how many businesses are in a 1 mile radius and what different business clusters are those. What I love, and I know that a community like Citrus Heights is very focused on small business. This is a really, really great tool for small business planning. So if you're a hair salon and you want to figure out, I really like this corner and I like this center for my shop, I want to know how much competition I have in a 5-minute drive time, and you can actually pinpoint that and see who they are and get a better sense of that. You can look at the demographics in the area and pull those reports down. So it's extremely robust. We want everybody to use it. And this is one of the things that we can do kind of through the power of, combining resources. We can pay for this tool. It serves our purposes for GSEC to promote the region, obviously, but then every one of our communities can use this tool as well. And we provided codes so that Citrus Heights could actually, if you want to put it in your website, it'll only show your boundaries. So, so that's always nice too. So we've got that. We also, for the first time ever, hosted a CoreNet Global event in Greater Sacramento. The reason this is important is CoreNet Global is a commercial real estate association. And so people that are representing tenants, especially in the Bay Area, the Northern California chapter always meets in San Francisco. So we've worked very hard to beat on the drum and really annoy the heck out of them and tell them that they need to hold an event in Sacramento. We'll make sure it's wonderful and they'll have a good time and they're going to want to come back. We did that. We had more than 200 attendees. We took them all to a Kings game. We gave them a great presentation. It was fantastic. And they've committed verbally at least that they're going to do 2 events a year in Sacramento, which is fantastic. Well, Greater Sacramento, somewhere in the region. But that's fantastic news because we're now getting on the map with commercial real estate professionals in the wider region in all of Northern California, and that wasn't happening before. So we really want to increase that attention. And we also hosted the first ever national site selection and familiarization tour. Having 6 national site selectors come and spending 2.5 days doing nothing but touring our entire region was really significant. If you didn't get to see, we culminated that event with a public forum, and we actually videotaped it, so we have the video if anybody wants to watch. National site selectors, there's about 150 to 200 of these professionals, and their entire world is they are hired to help companies, national companies, locate or expand their firms, and they're usually doing a national search. So they're very influential, they're a tight-knit group, and if they don't have a perception of your region, then you're not getting shortlisted. And usually the biggest problem with national site selection for groups like this is their whole job is to eliminate locations. One of the things they told us, and this is one of the obstacles we're working on, is that there is the ABCs of site selection nationally or anywhere but California. So we're working really hard to get past those misnomers. And I'll tell you, they had a wonderful time in the region, very, very positive results. So we're going to try to do this twice a year in the coming years. One nice thing that we did in this program is we had 2 opportunities for our economic developers to interface and meet them all one-on-one individually. So we made sure to build that into the program. Some additional efforts that we've been working on in terms of partners. We're also a direct partner in the development of the Regional Prosperity Strategy. This is the result of the 2017 Brookings study. It will also serve as the regional CEDS, the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, which, long story short, I think the importance for Citrus Heights, what that means is if they get a CEDS adopted for the region, and Valley Vision is the one authoring the final CEDS submittal, you can then apply for EDA grants. And then also, we've been, again, like I mentioned, excited to just be another brain at the table. I have, from my experience, my last economic development role was with the city of Scottsdale in Arizona. We had quite a bit of retail and did a lot of tricky redevelopment in some of those areas for retail. So I'm having a great time just trying to be another piece of the brain trust and help the team on the work that you're doing with Sunrise Mall, which is so critical to the community from a tax-based perspective. And then finally, again, an extension of your team is our team. And when we just add up the database tools that we have access to, that we subscribe to, that you then have access to through us, in addition to staff that will run those reports and crunch that data for you, it's about $150,000 or more value. And these are some of the different things that we can do. We can run economic impact analyses in-house, labor and cost of living analysis, property and commercial real estate data. We will vet companies for you. We've got some databases that allow us to poke around quite a bit and understand what's really going on with the firm. And then again, marketing and web support and presence. So with that, I know I talk fast. If you have any questions, I would be thrilled to take them, but I want to thank you so much for your time tonight and for having us here and for the great partnership.
Thank you, Danielle. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Appreciate very much you coming out tonight and working with us as closely as you do. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. Thanks.
Okay, next item, please.
Next item is comments by council members and regional board updates.
Okay, so I'll start with you. Anything? Nope. Okay, Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. Between the last meeting, we didn't have a regional transit meeting, but I'll be bringing this up quite often. In September 18th, we'll expect major bus service changes with regional transit and how they affect us. There'll be major service improvements on the number 1, which is on Greenback, the 23 Citrus Heights to Arden Arcade, the 93, which is Orlando to Foothill Farms. The bad news is there's some discontinued routes in our city, 24, which is Orangevale and Madison Avenue, 28, which is Mall to Rancho Cordova, and the 95, Antelope to the Mall. But these will be covered by the continuing operation of the Smart Ride, which I think is a little more convenient than these fixed routes that sometimes are more than a mile from folks' homes. Last week, I attended the Neighborhood USA Conference in Palm Springs, and this was neighborhood associations from all over the country. I was there because Neighborhood Area 10 in our city, with Jana Karpinski-Costa as president, was a finalist in the Neighborhood of the Year Awards, and their project was feeding homebound seniors at Christmas time in partnership with Meals on Wheels and the Lions Club. And we didn't win, but we came in second in the nation, so I'm quite proud of the efforts of Neighborhood Area 10. On Monday, I attended Sue Frost's community meeting and provided an update on stuff going on around the city, and that's it.
Thank you. Brett?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Excuse me, I wanted to take a moment to follow up on Mr. Warren's remarks when he came here a couple of weeks ago in regards to our failure to acknowledge other faiths and important days and events around those faiths. And I think he brought up a very good point, and I want to apologize for us not doing that, and I think it would be very good if we did that going forward as a city. There are a lot of people in our city that have different beliefs and faiths, and I think it would be important maybe if we reached out to somebody within those faiths at those times and found them and had them come and maybe make a presentation and whatnot, and so that we did not create an appearance of just being one message. And so I'd like us to do that as a city, something for the city manager maybe to think about and how we could do that. The other thing is Monday is Memorial Day. It serves a whole lot of purposes, but its main purpose is to remember those veterans who paid the ultimate sacrifice in defending our freedoms. And so I would ask that you please do something Monday to show that acknowledgement of that. And as parents, I think it's very good if you would take the day and make sure that your children understand the reason for the holiday, and it's just not a day off from school. And so please do that in honoring our veterans. Thank you.
Okay, Jeff?
Thank you. Yeah, so I missed the last meeting. I was traveling. The day job got in the way, but that's how it goes. So I did want to make a comment back to staff. Last Tuesday of this week, they had their second public meeting, open house, if you will, on the Electric Greenway. I thought that went very well, so I want to thank Leslie Bloomquist and other staff members for being there and presenting their plan going forward and taking the input. I think at the end of the day, it'll be a better project for the input. And then, as Brett mentioned, the Memorial Day, there actually is a service at Sylvan Cemetery, 11 o'clock Monday. For any of you who would like to attend, it's actually a pretty good service, only lasts about an hour, then you get the rest of your day back, so that's it.
Okay, thanks. So I'll briefly mention a number of things that have gone on and a couple of things that are coming up. First of all, we had our senior health fair here last week, and I want to thank staff. This is the first year that our city actually has put it on themselves. And thank you to Jana Karpinski-Costa, who was the foundational piece of that and actually oversaw it for many years. And then we as a city took it over this year. It was a good event, and as they evaluate that and build on it, it will get even better. And that was last Friday, and then last Saturday, I attended a retirement party of Ron Clark. And I bring it up because Ron was started as a groundskeeper, became the general manager of Sylvan Cemetery, our local cemetery here in town. He was there 43 years, and it was a labor of love for him, and so it was nice to be able to present him with a resolution from the city, but also just to say farewell and we wish you well to someone who has served our community for a very long time. And also, then last weekend, our local Rotary Club did a food packaging event where they packaged, I don't know, Jeff, do you know?
70,000.
70,000 meals that will be sent to starving people around the world, and they put this together or did it in a couple of days, worked their fingers to the bone. I'd also like to thank our General Services Department for hosting their National Public Works Week barbecue, and the vendors that supported that made it a very nice event for our staff. And then yesterday, we had our Sanitation District Board meeting, and we actually met out at the wastewater treatment plant, had a very brief meeting, and then we took a tour of the Echo Water Project, which is this multiple-year project to upgrade our wastewater treatment plant to tertiary level to be in compliance with the new permit that that will be issued. I want to thank our city manager for joining me on that. This is a $1.6 billion project, and once finished, will be the largest project outside of the airport that the county has done, and the largest, most advanced wastewater treatment plant in the western United States. Okay, a couple of PAL events that are coming up on June 22nd. We're having our Trap Shoot fundraiser for those of you who are trap shooters. It's at Coon Creek. You can get the information off the police department's website. July 1st, they're having their Extreme Camp. It's a 3-day event for kids. It includes horseback riding, a rope course, and river rafting, followed by a barbecue. And then finally, our police department is hosting the first-ever Business Academy, June 20th and 27th in the morning, those mornings, for business owners and managers to help you enhance your safety and security of your businesses. So if you're interested in that, you can also get that information off the city's website. That's all I have. Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item is public comment, and members of the audience may address the council on any item of interest to the public and within the council's purview, or on any agenda item before or during the council's consideration of the item. If you wish to address the council during the meeting, please fill out a speaker identification sheet. When you're called upon to speak, step forward to the podium and state your name for the record. Normally, speakers are limited to 5 minutes each, with 30 minutes being allowed for all comments, and any public comments beyond the initial 30 minutes may be heard at the conclusion of the agenda, and the mayor has the discretion to lengthen or shorten the allotted times.
Okay. For 3 of our speakers are here this evening on the subject of speed bumps, so I'm going to call them one at a time to come up and make their presentation. The first one being Rich Pike.
Thank you. Good evening. My name's Rich Pike. I've graduated San Juan High School, Citrus Heights boy, through and through. I've owned a couple houses here in Sacramento, or in Citrus Heights, and I found that the speeding issues on the Area 6 have never been stopped, never been addressed. What has happened is they have been addressed, but then nothing's been done about them. We ran a speed gun with the Citrus Heights Police Department on Cedar Drive, and we got some big numbers, and and it was asked that I not talk about this, but we've already had this. We already went to the city planners on the speed bumps on Cedar Drive. And they said, well, we can't do anything about the speed bumps because you're too close to the fire department. And it's like the elementary school's on the other side of Cedar Drive. Fire department's over by Grand Oaks Shopping Center. Elementary school's over on Mariposa and Poppy. And it's a danger. It's at the corner of Poppy and Holly. I owned a house over there, and multiple times cars have crashed through the corner guardrail and into the pasture, even killing a horse at one time. So the stories are just going to get bigger and bigger, and I think we ought to do a little problem solving here. So we know we can't put in curb and gutter because that's going to be too expensive. And the police are doing a great job, but they don't have time to sit out there all day long and babysit the stop sign or the speed going up and down any road in the Area 6 area. They just don't, there's no time for that. So the speed bumps, I think, are the solution, and the last time we ran this through, it didn't quite work the way we wanted it. So we're back with the bigger plan, and we'd like to see it happen. And from what I hear, there's a little movement now in achieving these goals that Area 6 would like to see. So we could address that maybe and get some speed bumps, and that'd be great. I mean, it's you got the elementary school there, you got Rush Park, little midgets walking back and forth during. I lived over there for 38 years. I've seen these guys. They go swimming, they come back, cars go speeding by them. They're carrying their little skateboards from the skateboard park, whatever. It's dangerous. So. I've used up my 5 minutes. I don't know where the clock is, but you have any questions for me?
I have one question.
Yeah.
As a fellow Spartan, I'd like to know
Amen,
why
brother. What year?
Yeah, 78.
78, 76.
I just want to know why you're wearing that sweater.
Oh, God, this is, yeah, that's a good idea. You got BB boys back here. You know, I thought it was getting a little static, but no, this, some of us have grandchildren.
Yeah.
And they're like 5 years old and want to see Grandpa wear their, he says junior maps.
My son graduated from there, so I got a little bit of that stuff around the house, too.
Well, welcome to the other side.
Well, then you were right there when Mesa Verde was becoming a high school, and
And we used to beat them all the time back.
yep, that's right. God bless you.
Greg Pope.
God bless you. All right, any questions?
No.
No,
Gary
thank
still
you.
will be a little
Speed bumps.
upset with
Appreciate you
Hey,
coming up,
if,
and
you
we'll,
need to get me, you got my phone number, and I'll be more than happy to work with you on this.
thanks very much.
All right,
Appreciate
great.
seeing you tonight. Okay. Next one is Sue Bancroft.
I have photos.
Okay, give it to our city clerk, and she'll take care of that for you. Thank you.
My name is Susan Bancroft. I live on Holly Drive, and I have a big concern with speed bumps in my neighborhood. We have a lot of parents that walk their children and their dogs on this street. The street is very narrow. There's not room for two cars to go in opposite directions. If you are driving down one direction and you meet a car coming, one of the cars has to pull over, which means there is not a lot of room if you are walking a dog or a stroller with a child. If a car comes speeding down that road, where are you going to go? There's not a lot of room to get out of the way. So I think the speed bumps would help with this problem a lot. The photos that I have brought are the fence where the driver went through and killed the horse in my neighbor's property. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Susan. Our next speaker is Mel Ball.
Hello. My name is Mel Ball, and I was here before about the speed bumps, and everything that these folks just said, I totally agree with. It's actually absolutely accurate. In fact, I talked to the folks that had the horse that was killed just a couple of days ago, and I asked them, they got hit again. That's what the picture she has. They ran through the fence and tore it down, and they said that it had been happened so many times that they've lost count now. And the house that sits, I guess, on the south side of that street, they've been hit 3 times. That's usually cars coming the other direction that do that. So then what I see there's a speed bump already up near Mariposa School. I think it's about 1/8 of a mile up Poppy. Well, people, they come down there, they get to that speed bump, they have to slow down, and then they just pour the coal to it and wide open because they're making up time, and all of a sudden, here's a 90-degree turn in the road. And there's been all these hazards happen right there, and there's been a horse killed. Unfortunately, it was, not fortunately, nobody wants to see a horse killed, but there wasn't a person. And people walk along there all the time on that side of the road because I see them when I come down that street. And if one of those people that does this, there's nothing you can do. There's nowhere to go. So if we're going to have that speed bump, because the children walk down and they're safer because of the speed bump, it's slower by the school. But once they get past that, they still walk all the way down, and I see them coming by my house. But the people have picked up the speed by then, and they blow the stop signs. And I mean, they're sailing. And I got your letter that came to me, and I agree with what it said about the average speed was 19 miles an hour. And that is true. That's probably about right. Some people drive, 20 to 25 miles an hour. But they said there's some vehicles traveling in excess of 45. And I can assure you, there's some go by there 55. I mean, it's like a racetrack. And I just wrote down some of the things that happened to me just recently. One is backing out of my driveway. You back out, and you look both ways, and then all of a sudden, there's somebody, I mean, they're literally on your rear bumper. I'm like, where did that guy come from, And this happens frequently. And then if you go on up Holly to where, I guess it's Cherry Glen, when you come out of Cherry Glen and you make a right turn onto Holly, there's a telephone pole right there. And you have to go in to the other side of the road to clear that. And that's a blind hill. And people come up that, I've almost had 2 or 3 accidents. They just fly up there and there they are. The same when you're coming up the blind hill. I've met people, they're coming in the middle of the road, flying, and there you are. You know, it's just, there's a lot of hazards on that street. It's a street that probably you should be traveling, honestly, 15 miles an hour. It's really narrow. There's no sidewalks. It is probably the narrowest street around there. And we got people that are trying to travel on there at, you know, the speeds that they're going out there on Auburn Boulevard, which is too fast anyway, but, you know. So that's pretty much, I think everything they said is pretty much already said, but I just wanted to reiterate some of the stuff that happened to me lately. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, all 3 of you, for coming out and speaking to us this evening. I have phone numbers for each of you, and I will pass this over to staff, and we will be contacting you and working with you to come up with a solution to this. Thank you. Okay. Our next speaker is Debbie Walsh. And we have this is a consent item, but we'll have you go ahead and speak now, Debbie.
Regarding animal services. So I have 3 questions. What is the benefit, or what are the benefits of Citrus Heights for contracting outside of the county using Placer County versus Sacramento County?
Is that one question?
That is the one question. The second question is, what are the benefits of the residents using Placer County versus using Sacramento County?
Okay.
This is not a question, but this is a true statement. It is my understanding to the local taxpayers that this is not, okay, it's actually against the law because this is a foreign entity. So our taxpayer dollars are not being utilized in Sacramento County. They're going to Placer County. And that is against, you know, foreign entities, is it not?
Well, I'll tell you what, the reason we made the change, and I'll have maybe a staff person who can fill in some more details. The reason we made this change from using Sacramento County Animal Services to Placer is because it was cost savings to our citizens, to our staff, and to our citizens. And so we're getting better care, we're getting better services, and we're paying less money. And so I believe
But isn't that against foreign entities? Because our money is going to another county? We are not Placer County. We are Sacramento County.
Right.
Some of the laws and rules are still under Sacramento County, even though we are a city of Citrus Heights.
right. I don't believe Placer County is considered a foreign entity, but I'm going to ask.
Okay, a foreign entity, it's against the Constitution because a foreign entity is anything. So we are not, our local tax dollars are not staying within the county, the city limits, the county limits. They're going to another county.
Okay. Would you like to address this?
Hi, I'm Sergeant
Hi.
Evans. I'm the Sergeant for Special Operations, and Animal Control is under my domain. One of the biggest reasons, and I'm not going to refute what you're saying, but I'll be happy to talk with you offline on that, no problem. We can
That
look into
would be
that.
wonderful.
The main reasons is, you know, here, the city of Citrus Heights, we're huge animal people, okay? We love animals, and Placer County is a much better facility. They take much better care of animals. There's a much higher adoption rate. It's just a much better facility. Everything about it is just much better. So, and I can take you on a tour there.
Because
show
can
that
I
to you.
tell you why? Placer County does not get animals from other counties like Sacramento County does, and I know this for a proven fact.
Okay.
Sacramento County gets animals from other non-kill or kill shelters, such as, you know, Southern California, Los Banos. They get animals, they bring them up here to Sacramento County, and now they say their shelter is full.
Well, can't address what other counties do in other parts of the state.
But we are Sacramento County. We are not Placer County. That is my problem, because it's the tax dollars going to a rich county already.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but I'm telling you that the reason we made the change, in addition to the better service.
I don't think you're saving that much money, to be honest.
All right, well, thank you for coming forward.
Thank you, and I would like to talk to you offline.
Okay. Thank you, Sergeant Evans. All right. And we have one other speaker sheet, but it's for item number 8, so we will save it for that item and move on. Thank you.
The next items are consent calendar items 6 and 7.
Move approval.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? I will second that. To approve the consent calendar, items 6 and 7, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, it carries. Next item.
Next item is public hearing number 8. The subject is regarding the composition of the city's voting districts. The recommendation is to hold the third of 5 public hearings to receive input on the composition of voting districts and select 2 to 4 focus maps, request any desired map revisions and any additional information needed for the public hearing scheduled for June 13th, 2019.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Catherine Cooley, Assistant to the City Manager. We're here tonight to conduct the third of 5 public hearings on this topic that are mandated by statute. The city used the first 2 hearings to gather public input on the drawing of district maps. The purpose of this hearing is to review the various maps that have been submitted on the topic. And then we're asking the council tonight to narrow down the options for maps to about less than 4 maps. Staff will then take those maps and provide a map for your review on June 13th. And with that, I'll introduce Shalise Tilton, and she's here to present the various options for you.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and council members. It's my pleasure to be here. This is the 4th public hearing that's been held on this topic, as Catherine has mentioned. The city has 9 maps to consider tonight. 4 were submitted by members of the public. 2 were submitted by an employee of the Sacramento County Elections Division, a GIS technician, and 3 were drawn by NDC based on the input from the previous 2 hearings and other public input, and to round out the options for the council to consider. So I do want to comment that while that may not seem like a lot of maps to you, that is definitely average, considering that all the maps submitted are legally compliant, population balanced and contiguous. That rarely happens. Typically, we get maps submitted by the public that are not contiguous or not population balanced, or a number of reasons why they can't be considered. So you're right there in the mix of what is average for cities in receiving the number of maps that you can consider tonight. Before we get started, I'm just going to show you quickly the timeline. We are, as I mentioned, we are in the 3rd public hearing, and 2 hearings will be held. This is the first of 2 on these draft maps. Prior to tonight, the City Council has not been able to deliberate on any maps or discuss any particular maps, so this will be the first opportunity. Our goal today is hopefully to narrow down from 9 to 2 or 3 maps that will be identified as the focus maps. All the maps will still remain in the mix for consideration, and will remain on the website. And if council is able to narrow it down to a couple of focus maps, we will identify those as focus maps. It's helpful for the public because as they engage, they can focus their energy on the maps that are preferred by the council and provide valuable input on those few as opposed to all 9. I do want to mention before we get started into looking at each map, what we'll be doing is I'll be showing on the screen each of the maps and doing some comments, giving just some general comments that were either submitted by those who drafted the maps or submitted the maps, or if they were drawn by NDC, I'll be giving those comments as well. I do have a couple of ways for us to view the maps when we get into the discussion portion, either from the slides that I'll be showing on the screen, or we can go to an interactive map viewer that works very similar to Google Maps, where we can zoom in very closely to various streets. We can change the look of the map to show topography or various street names or the satellite images. And we can also zoom into larger PDFs if that's useful for the council. Just to remind the council and those new to the process that when we're drawing the maps, we do have some constraints. One of those means that we must use the 2010 federal census numbers. So we'll be using those population numbers. As of 2010, the total population for the city was 83,301. So when we divide that into 5 equal districts, each district needs to have approximately 16,660 people in those districts. So that's total population. That includes citizens, non-citizens, adults, babies, all human beings are included in that count. The other constraints that we have is that we can have no racial gerrymandering, meaning we cannot draw maps solely based on race. Typically, when we're talking about race, we're talking protected class groups. For the city, that would be your Latino group, your Asian American, and your Black community. So while that can be a consideration, we certainly want to keep those neighborhoods united. It cannot be the only consideration. So you can't draw a district that is solely based on race. But we do want to make sure that when the maps are drawn, that we don't divide those communities and that we focus more on the neighborhoods that make sense.
Did you find that we had those communities? Because it looked like demographically, everybody was pretty well spread out.
You're absolutely right. This community is more diverse and spread out than most communities. So we don't have a high concentrated area. In fact, your highest concentrated group is your Latino group, but we're still only in the 17 or 18% of the citizen voting age population. That's the category that they look at when they're talking about voting strength of a protected class group. So in all the maps presented, there is nowhere near one district that has a majority of voting citizens in one district for a certain protected class.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we don't have very strong concentrated areas. The other requirement is that each district be contiguous. All the boundary lines must touch, so you can't have, say you can't have a District 1 that has a section here and a section here and a section here. It all has to be contiguous for each of the 5 districts. So as Councilmember Miller pointed out, we really don't have any high concentrated areas of any particular protected class groups. We do have, we have identified which districts have the stronger, but it's pretty insignificant. It's for the citizen voting age population, as I said, I think the highest is about 17 or 18%, most around 14 or 13%. This is map 101. This is a map that was prepared by National Demographics Corporation. In drafting this map, the goals that were considered were compactness, following neighborhood boundaries, following major roads, and respecting the will of the voters. So when we speak to will of the voters, if it's possible and it's logical and it makes sense, we try to avoid pairing council members. If we were to draw all 5 council members in one district, we'd be sending a message to the voters that you can only select one, and it doesn't matter which ones you believe have earned re-election. If you believe all 5 have earned re-election, then the voters would only have one choice if everyone was drawn into one district. In this particular map, we were able to avoid pairing council members in most districts. There's one pairing in District 2 of Sloy and Daniels. This map considers the neighborhood boundaries. District 1 has most of areas 7 and 8, and the northern portions of areas 6 and 2. District 2 has all of the northwest area 1 and area 3. District 3 has all of Area 4, the Arcade Creek, and portions of Rush. Is it Rush or Roosh? Rush. Sunrise Ranch and Sylvan Old Auburn, areas 2, 6, and 10. District 4 has all of Park Oak, which is Area 5, and Birdcage Heights, Area 11. District 5 has all of Area 9 and most of Areas 10 and 6. That's for map 101. Map 102 accomplishes the same goals as map 101, but this is just a different approach to doing that. So again, we're looking at compactness. We're trying to respect the established area boundaries, following major roads, and respecting the will of the voters. This does pair 2 council members in District 2, Slowey and Daniels. District 1 has all of Area 6 and the northern portions of Areas 2 and 10. District 2 has all of Area 1, the northwest, and all of Area 3. District 3 has all of Areas 7 and 8 and all of Area 9. District 4 has all of Area 4, Area 5, and a portion of Area 2. And District 5 has all of 11 and the north and a portion of Area 10. Map 103 was submitted by a member of the public. There were no comments that were submitted with this submission. However, this map represents very specific quadrants of northeast, southeast, northwest, and southwest, and a central District 4. There are no this map does pair 2 council members in District 1, Bruins and Miller. This map was submitted by a member of the public. It has no pairing, so it doesn't pair any of the council members. The submitter in their comments submitted that this map makes sense because it provides a balance across districts, which is representative of Citrus Heights' general population demographics. It does not provide more or less preference to any of the identified protected classes. There's a good mix of business and residential across all districts. The submitter states that it provides a relatively equal mix of schools, parks, and open space across all districts and takes into account a predicted population expansion of the Mitchell Farms residential development project by having a lower initial population in that district. So what the submitter is saying is it's slightly underpopulated, but within the allowable population deviation. So between the least populated district and the highest populated district, it can be a no greater than 10% difference. Map 105 was submitted by a member of the public. The map was adjusted for current and potential retail, commercial, and residential development, according to the submitter. The map has 2 districts that pair council members. District 2 pairs Slowey and Daniels, and District 3 pairs Miller and Middleton. Map 106 was submitted by a member of the public. There were no comments submitted with the map. It does pair 3 council members in its District 3. The map does represent a configuration of stretched districts. So you see District 1 has it stretches from the north city limits to Kingswood Drive. District 2 from the west city limits to Gary Oak Drive, and District 3 from the west city limits to Sunrise Boulevard. Maps 107 and 108 were submitted by a geographics information system analyst working in the Sacramento County Elections Office. The submitter of the map said that his purpose for providing the maps is to avoid unnecessarily interfering with or splitting existing district lines and voting precinct boundaries. So I do want to point out that because Sacramento County takes advantage of the Voters' Choice Act and there are voting centers, any resident can go to any place to vote. So Sometimes it's when we hear from the county elections office, it's because voters, there'll be some voters that will be only, won't have a precinct. They'll be told that they don't have a choice and will only be able to vote by mail. Well, that will not be the case for Citrus Heights, because they can go to any voting place. But there is extra work involved by the county because they have to consider other existing boundaries of other districts. For example, the San Juan Water District, the Sacramento Suburban and Citrus Heights Water Districts, 2 Sacramento Metro Fire Trustee areas are within the city limits. And so it's just an additional project for them to have to create precincts. Every county has to deal with this. We rarely hear from the county, but in this case, they asked if we could take that in consideration. And oftentimes, if we are making adjustments, and they're minor adjustments, we can look at the precinct lines, and if it doesn't affect a significant amount of population, or sometimes no population, then we can make those adjustments just to help ease it for the county elections office. The difference between map 107, according to the submitter, is that Plan A more clearly follows the precinct lines, but is not as closely population balanced, although it's within the acceptable deviation. Plan 108 has a more balanced population, and it took into effort, according to the submitter, to maintain neighborhood contiguity and does not follow so much the precinct boundaries. We did put on the interactive map viewer that I mentioned the precinct boundaries and the census tracts, as well as the census blocks. And in all cases, we must follow the census blocks. So we don't necessarily follow the census tracts, as the submitter was hoping to accomplish, but we do follow census blocks. So census blocks are, if you had a perfectly square city, it'd be just like what you would consider a block, and census tract is a grouping of those census blocks. Map 109 is a map that was prepared by a National Demographics Corporation. With this map, the difference is we try to follow the neighborhood, the established areas, neighborhood areas as much as possible. But in this case, we are presenting this map because it follows more of the streams and rivers wherever possible, so that you avoid dividing neighborhoods that are just right across the street from each other. And only where it's not possible to keep streets together, we use major streets as much as possible. So it accomplishes much of the same goals as maps 101 and 102. However, you'll see that we follow more of the creek boundaries as opposed to those other 2 maps. In District 1, it has all of areas 7, 8, and 6. District 2 has all of Northwest Area 1 and portions of 3 and 2. And District 3 has all of Area 5 and almost all of 10. And District 4 has almost all of 4, 3, and portions of Area 2. This is a thumbnail view of the maps. We realize you can't see those. They're very small, but oftentimes it's useful in asking me to zoom back and forth and skip to different maps as we're having the discussion. So our goal today is, and we often find that a good approach for the council is to, rather than go map by map by map and discuss the features, is to identify the maps that you believe best fit the city and best fit the city's communities, and start with those 1 or 2, identify the features you like about those, and then if there's any adjustments that need to be made, we can look at making adjustments as well. So at this point, we'll certainly hold the public, I can answer any questions before the public hearing, and then the council, as we discuss the draft maps, I do want to remind you that I can zoom into that interactive map viewer where you can look more closely at the various maps.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing and give the public an opportunity to speak. So the hearing is open, and I have 1 speaker sheet from Michael Lagomarsino. If you'd like to come forward, please. If anybody else would like to speak on this subject, please fill out a speaker card and give it to our city clerk. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Marco Lagmasino. I live currently in Neighborhood Association 3. I'm also president of the Residents Empowerment Association of Citrus Heights, better known as REACH, and I'm currently president of my neighborhood association. Even though REACH does take a non-political aspect, I don't think that these maps tonight are political in any way. I'm going to keep it very simple. I'm going to ask that you not consider Area 6 or maps 106 and 107 because of the fact that they split one of our major areas on the northwest corner of our freeway, primarily the other side of the freeway. I don't think it's conducive to the folks that live there to be split into two separate districts. So I'd ask that you think about that before you go with that one. The other one I'd like you to not consider or reject would be map 109. Main reason I don't like map 109 is it follows the creek bed and it splits too many neighborhoods into too many other neighborhood districts. I mean, I don't like it at all because it does follow the creek bed and not major thoroughfares. I do ask that you do look at major thoroughfares as a dividing line. And with that in mind, I'd like you to look at, consider maps 101, 102, 105, and 108. Thank you very much for your time.
Great. Seeing no one else from the public, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. And we're going to open it up for council comments. And so, Portia, do you feel up to a couple comments?
Yeah, I can try.
She's not feeling well tonight, so trying to give her a light load.
Well, I appreciate that. I have to say that I am seeing a bit of a preference to map 101. It really honors the voters' wishes, but also gives an equal weight of the major thoroughfares like Old Auburn Road, the Antelope Road. It's shared, and it helps to keep up that whole idea of having our council be cohesive so that we all have something that we're working together towards because we're sharing major roadways. I also like map 104 for the same reason.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Miller?
Thanks, Jeannie. Is Steve Wigington here? I prefer your map the best, number 104. It does have a good balance, and I like the fact that he took into account Mitchell Farms. And my second choice was map 109, Mike, sorry, but, and it has some odd shape to it, but it was also very balanced, especially for council member representation. So those are my top two.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at that.
All right, and Mr. Daniels?
I don't necessarily have a preference. What I prefer is districts that are more compact than stretched out, if that makes sense. It just seems to me that representation would be easier the more closely located the districts are. That's all for now.
Okay. Lori?
Sure, so I'm going to spend a little more time on some of these. So when I look at this, when I look at all the reasons for doing this, and bottom line is the law says we have to, I also in my mind think, respect voters' choices. That's one of them where every one of us was elected up here. And when I look at these maps, so there's 7 of the maps that at the end of the day have a vacancy. So basically that means no council member lives there. So there's definitely going to be somebody new on the council. And, in some of these maps, they had 2 districts with 2 council members. And one of these maps, they had 1 district with 3 council members plus 2 vacancies. So right there at the end of the day, you're going to have, a major change. And while I get, if that's what the voters want, that's what the election process is about. But the vacancies bother me a little bit because they're kind of coming after the fact of, in my personal opinion, not looking at the voters' choice for wherever we are today. So when I look at, and not to sound flippant, but I think there's 3 districts up here that put me and Brett together. That's fine. I've run in 4 elections. I've come in first by a wide majority, so I'm not too worried there. But I don't think that's fair to any of us. Like I said, there's 1 district that has 3 people in the district. So if you vote for that, 2 of them are out, unless they want to move. So when I look at these, there's only 2 that actually hit that mark, and that's 104 and 109. What I don't know, and what I'm going to, if we come up with those 2 in the mix, I am going to ask NDC, because you did 109, right? I actually like 104 better, but I think there needs to be some fact-checking behind it just to make sure that, there's no issues. I just think the boundaries seem a little crisper than on 109, but in my opinion, those are the only 2 maps that basically, respect the current voter's choice. And, if we all want to run again, and if we all lose, well, that's the voter's choice. But to kick somebody out because of the California Voters' Rights Act, especially when we look at the disenfranchised population in Citrus Heights, which in my personal opinion doesn't exist, but that's me, I think there's really only 2 that meet that criteria, and that's 109 and 104. But knowing NDC drew 109, again, if 104 is in the mix, I would like some fact checks on that, just to make sure that we're not, looking at something that might not be.
And I can answer that.
Okay.
We probably would have drawn a similar 104, but it was already drawn for us.
Oh, okay, well, that's good. So it's plus. NDC.
Yeah, everything is.
That's fine. And that's what I don't want to put one in here that later we're going to come back and say, that didn't work. But I'll be honest with you, 106, that was a non-starter for me. There was just, 3 council members in 1 district, and it's some funky math, but I don't like it. And same with 107 and 108. You either had 2 districts with 2 council members plus an open district, or 2 open districts and some of us together. So, 104 and 109, in my opinion, are the best. I could live with 101 and 102, but again, I don't think that's necessarily meets the 100% definition of it as I understood this. So that's me.
Thank you. Okay, my turn. So I agree. First of all, 109, if the purpose was to follow stream beds, there was only 1 stream bed that was even followed. So I kind of threw that one out because it didn't really meet the purpose of, as stated, in my opinion. And of course, 7 and 8, I'm not too interested in because just, it looks like it's mainly to make the job easier on the county, not to serve this community better, have to say that. And I just want to echo Mr. Slowey's comments. We're being forced to do this because supposedly we have a prejudice against the Hispanic population based on our census in 2010, because we do not have a Hispanic on the city council. But I've met with a number of our Hispanic citizens. None of them feel prejudiced against. Going through this process, we're doing it because we have to. It's not solving any problems. It is not providing any service, since all of our ethnic groups are pretty much spread throughout Citrus Heights. So this is not making any change in that regard. So having editorialized on that, I will move on. I'm not crazy about 101 because I spent a lot of time on the comparing statistics, and the population gap is going to grow with the build out of Mitchell Farms as far as the raw population is concerned. But one of the things I looked at too is, aside from the raw population, which is birth to death basically, any age group, is looking at the voter registration, the voter turnout, and that levels a lot of the gaps because a lot of these people are children. So, but I'm still concerned about the population gap that's going to expand with the build out of Mitchell Farms. I like 102 and 105. I'm with Michael. Thank you, Michael. 104 makes a lot of sense based on the things we talked about today. What I don't, again, I don't like the fact that some of these put two council members in the same district. I don't know if we can 100% avoid that, but I think we have to lean in the direction of not doing that, again, out of respect for the voters' choice. So from what I'm seeing, we've eliminated 7, 8, and 9. Am I correct in that?
I would not say we've eliminated 9
Well, not
yet.
eliminated, but they're not coming up as preferences.
I thought 6 was the one that had the 3 council members in one.
That's, yeah, that does too, yeah. So 6 is another one that we find could be
Yeah.
problematic.
6, 7, and 8 seem problematic by what a lot
Okay.
of folks have said.
And so, given what you're hearing tonight, I spent more time analyzing the even distribution of the population, the voters, and the impact of growth in areas that we know have housing projects, particularly Mitchell Farms, because that's the big one, that have been approved and are going to be real within the next year or two. I like 104 from the fact that there are no competing council members, if you will. Don't like the layout quite as much. I don't like the long Area 4. It's just, seems like it's just not, it's just inconsistent with the rest of what we're doing as far as dividing the districts. So my question to you is a couple things. One is, can you take what you're hearing tonight and can we play with these? Is there ability to make changes with boundaries, with the goals in mind that we don't want council members in competing districts? We want to keep it as evenly divided as possible. Are there other options that haven't come up tonight that?
Well, if there is a particular map that you like, but a certain district that you would like to adjust and move to another district, we would definitely have to make the adjustment so that it still remains population balanced. But we would look for specific areas and streets. So if we get to that point, we would probably bring up the interactive map so you could clearly give defined streets you would want to move over and what doesn't make sense. Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, major thoroughfares make sense to me. One of the things I didn't like about 104 was the fact that it splits a neighborhood between 3 and 4 at the south of the city. And it's, those people, you know, are very connected in their neighborhood association. And just so that bothered, that, I didn't like that about that one.
The split on 104 between districts 3 and 4?
Yeah.
In the southern part of that?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the eastern boundary, the southern part of the eastern boundary, or?
Between the green and the purple.
The entire length of the green and
No,
purple?
below Greenback.
I'm sorry?
Below.
Below Greenback.
Yeah, if 4 could raise up to,
You know,
3 scoot down, I don't know how you do that.
so, and the other thing I'd like to request is
Bring 104 up.
when we look at maps again, that the numbering of the districts is consistent from map to map instead of jumping all over the place. And the color coding is consistent with those numbers. And for instance, as I sat comparing maps, if you look at 102 and 103, out where I live, in one of them, I'm green, area 3, and the next one, I'm white, I'm pink, area white, and so, area 1. And so it would be easier to compare them if you had some consistency. I'm not sure why they're all mixed up like this, but.
We typically try to keep the numbers that the submitter used, otherwise they don't recognize their maps. So we can change things around. When we're numbering the NDC maps, we look at maps that have similar characteristics and try to keep those numbers the same.
Well, having seen these now, I think it'd be easier for us, at least for me, to have that consistency so that it's easier to compare.
Yeah, it's difficult because if you look at the northwest area,
that's-
in the
yeah.
majority of the maps, it's the blue
Right.
area.
But then in 104, it's pink and green, so I mean,
Right.
so I guess going forward,
When we get down to the focus maps, you can, before you adopt a map, if you choose to renumber them, we can renumber them.
well, that's not the purpose of my statement. My statement is for comparison purposes.
Mhm.
Once we come up with them, it doesn't matter what number is what, quite frankly, when we settle on a map. But for comparison purposes, consistency would be helpful to me.
It would be changing the colors.
Yeah.
And the numbering.
Because the colors are consistent with the numbers.
Yes, the colors are consistent with the district numbers.
But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, they are.
They're all over the map.
They jump around.
No, they're the same.
Okay, so from tonight, your goal is to have us to narrow
Yeah.
our preferences down to 2 to 4 maps. Am I understanding that correctly?
So I'd like to make a suggestion then. I would suggest, to start narrowing this down, that we remove 105, 106, 107, and 108.
I guess we got 4.
Two districts with 2 council members in an open, that means you're going to have a change of 3.
Okay. So we're doing a preference, we're not actually removing, as I understand. We're
Well,
doing
I-
preferences, okay. So we'd
Yeah,
like,
but that just makes it easier to do.
so we'd like to focus on,
101, 102, 103, 104, and 109, at least for now. You guys
Okay.
can suggest.
and I'd
more.
like to suggest we remove 109, because I don't,
Yeah,
I
the on-
agree, yeah.
The only issue that I have with 109 is that's the only other one that keeps
oh,
everybody.
it separates everybody.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
I mean, if that's what you want, that's fine.
Okay, we'll leave it in then. Okay, so anybody else have any input? So 101.
Yeah, I think I'd like to try to get it down less than 5.
Yeah, I think the goal is 4 or less.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Well, I've heard 101, 104, and 109 from everybody, and Brett
Yeah.
hasn't really
That's my notes.
got a preference.
And I could live with that.
Say those again?
101, 104, and 109. However, looking at 104 to see if there's any swaps, if you will, to, because I agree, 4
Yeah.
seems a little long. I don't know if you switch with 3 or, is that 5? Yeah. Does that make sense? So the 104 at least hits the integrity of everybody having a different district. However, particular 4 is a very long and narrow district. So if there was a way to compact that a little bit, and I don't know if it's essentially switching out a corner of 3 and moving 3 over, Greenback south to the border. That's one, or look at 104. I don't have the numbers in front of me in terms of population, but you see what I'm saying?
Bring up the interactive and show some numbers, or
Yeah, I
let's
think,
bring up the interactives, just so I know the area you're talking about.
okay. Yeah, because I don't really want to sit here and do it tonight. I think we're paying you to go away, do it, and come back with it, so.
Go for it.
But yeah, I mean, you can pull it up. So I think the issue is,
Well,
if,
let me bring up the.
oh, okay, that's not
sorry.
interactive, sorry.
I'm going to bring up the census block so we know what numbers we're talking about of population.
Yeah,
We can zoom
that
in.
makes it easier to read.
We'll zoom in.
Those aren't the census block numbers.
So are you talking,
I kind of need the bigger picture, not the little, okay. A little bigger, the whole thing, okay. So where I think the question has been is, so Greenback, which is your, right there, yeah. So that section in the, wait, is that purple? Yeah. So that section down to Madison, I don't know how many people are in there. That seems to be the question. So I guess, is there a way to slide that over either left or right, I don't care if it goes to the green or the tan, and pull in, a corner of the green or a corner of the tan to kind of offset that.
Over to the, what major street is that? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm looking at is if you gave that bottom section to 5, I mean, could you take Greenback and Sunrise, that whole tan section there, and move it to the purple and give number 5 Greenback South? Or could you move it over to, and again, I don't know what number green is that 3 or 2? Green is 3, or could you give that same area to 3 and take
From
Auburn,
Van Maren.
Van Maren up?
What map are we looking at? Which one?
Huh?
104.
We're looking at 104?
Yeah. That's just, so that area, yeah. In other words, could we move that to the purple? That whole,
This area right here,
No.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, let me,
we have Councilmember Middleton that resides near this, in this,
line,
yeah.
okay, so that's a
He's
problem.
west of Sunrise, right there.
Okay, yeah, and that, I get it.
Jeff, what I was looking at is over, because Calvine's split between 3 and 4,
So give that corner,
down to, I think that's Auburn.
yeah.
And I
So
don't
go
know
over
if
to the
numbers
green.
work out
So I
over
think what they're
purple.
talking about is the upper right-hand corner of the green, there?
Yeah.
So could that move over to the
Okay.
purple, and then that same section of purple down below move over to green? I don't want to talk numbers, because.
How much of this
whole-
entire, but south of
Yeah,
Greenback?
again, it depends on the numbers, but yeah.
And then adjust it here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, that's an option. I don't think any of us live anywhere in there.
Right.
Oh, wow, that was.
I don't think
oh,
that,
Stop that.
There's 2 council members who live west of Van
Yep,
Martin. So we take this particular area?
yes.
Move it over and adjust, are you looking for this entire area?
Probably, yeah.
Sure, why not?
Okay, we'll
Go
see.
for
Okay.
I mean, again, it's just,
See what it does.
yeah,
So we'll retain this map and we'll create another map that's 10,
so I think the end goal.
4B.
Right, of what we're trying to do is.
Yes.
Compact,
take as much of this area we need to population balance, moving this area over to green, moving this area over to purple.
yeah, I mean, you could move it to the tan, but the problem is then you run into the issue with Councilmember Middleton, which defeats the purpose of the map.
Right.
So, yeah, so that corner is really about all you can do.
Okay, this area for this area.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
I mean, that would meet your concern, right? Plus keep everybody in a district, yeah. Yeah, I don't know the numbers, if that was even doable, but make it work. So, what I heard, I just want to make sure, is 101, 104, and 109, is that what I heard, or did I hear something different?
Well, we've got, let's see, 104, 109, would you see 101?
Yeah. Again, the issue with 101 is
I
you have.
like 102 better than 101, actually.
And I don't,
Same issue with 101, but
yeah, it's the same issue,
I like the layout better.
and that's fine, 6 to 1, half dozen the other, I mean,
I'd like
I
to
was-
leave 102 in the mix.
that's fine,
To eliminate 101?
sure. Yeah, I just think you need to think through that that's going to give you 2, you're going to have a vacant, which will be new, and then you're going to lose 1. So you will be getting 2 new people, or losing 1 and getting a new one, so.
Is this going to take a motion?
I think this is just,
Yeah, I think it's just discussion, direction.
Well, hang on, I'll tell you.
I think
We're recommending, yeah,
Input.
yeah, it's all input at this point.
Okay.
so the input is fixed
So
or.
we will identify these on the website as being focus maps.
Sure.
So,
So we'll take 101, 2, 4, and 9.
2, 4, and 9,
249 and a 104B.
rest.
Okay, and not 101.
Yeah.
Okay,
249 and a 104B.
and 4B. Okay.
Those would be the preferences, yeah.
Is everybody okay with that?
So far.
And,
Okay, how
maybe
about
we should keep 3 in there. It's Bruins and Miller. We should see them fight it out. I mean, let's just keep that one in there. No? Okay.
So,
You're
and
gonna-
Brett
you're gonna-
doesn't,
you're
Brett
gonna
doesn't
keep-
care, so.
you're gonna
you-
keep-
you-
care.
I mean,
You're
I don't
gonna,
mean that.
you're
I
gonna
mean, you
keep
don't
the
have a
one with Brett
preference.
and I in the same district. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm voting for that now.
We don't feel the love, that's for sure, but that's okay.
All right. Does that help you? Is that what you needed?
Yes,
All right.
nicely done.
So what are the next steps? You're going to come back with the 104B, I get it, but remind me, and maybe it was on there and I missed it.
So at the next meeting, it'll be very similar to this one. We'll focus on those 4 maps. We will still have all the other maps available for discussion. And hopefully by the end of that meeting, we'll identify one as a preferred map at your next meeting.
Okay, getting closer.
And would that involve the first reading and a motion at that
Yes.
time? Not just informational
Okay.
discussion?
So we have held our third of 5 public hearings, and we've given you input, so I think we're done with this agenda item. Thank you. Next item, please.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
can we consider moving item 10 up and hearing that first? I don't know how long 9's going to take, but is that something we might do?
Well, we've already approved the agenda. Are you guys okay with moving 10 up?
I don't care one way or
I don't
the
care. Do you need to go home and go to bed? No, okay.
Yes, she does.
Sorry, Kathleen. She's good, all right. Let's just
All
stay with the agenda as is. Item number 9, please.
So public hearing, item number 9, the subject is 7500 Auburn Boulevard, the 76 station request for letter of public convenience and necessity. And the recommendation is to approve the letter of public convenience and necessity that will allow the issuance of a type 20 license for the sale of beer and wine at a convenience store located at 7500 Auburn Boulevard.
Good evening, council. I'll go first. Good evening, council. Allison Bermudez with the Planning Division tonight, and I'll be fast. The item before you, as mentioned, is a letter of public inconvenience and necessity for 7500 Auburn Boulevard. If you've noticed, it's a recently reopened gas station. It's been Cook and Auburn for many years, but it's been closed for the past year or so. Recently, the applicant has reopened it. What he's requesting before you tonight is for you to approve the issuance of a Type 20 license that will allow him to sell beer and wine. So I just want to refresh you on letter of public convenience and necessities. It is dictated by the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control when this step is necessary. And for our processes, it is your decision to decide whether this should be granted. ABC determines these are necessary when census tracts are what they consider over-concentrated with alcohol licenses, and the number assigned to this particular census tract where he is located allows 2 licenses. Currently, there are 4, so this would be license number 5, should you choose to allow it to be issued. In his particular location, he is at the boundary of the census tract, so I did feel it was more appropriate to look at his surrounding uses and other licenses that are near him, not necessarily just the census tract boundary. So he does have 2, one to the north at Auburn and Antelope, and one nearly across the street from him at another mini mart, but still relatively low number in his vicinity. A couple years ago, you did issue this same license type to this location when it was Arco Station. It is now a 76. The applicant obviously is here tonight to answer any questions. We have met with him. He has provided a security plan. The police department has reviewed it, and they felt very confident in his plan and the way he is training he proposes for his employees, his security measures. So they are supporting the issuance of it, as well as planning divisions. Happy to answer any questions. Applicant's here, and we'll also address any questions that you might have.
Would you like to make a statement, sir?
I just
Mayor-
wanted to,
Mayor Bruins, would you like to open the public hearing?
I would love to open the public hearing. Excuse me just a moment. This is a public hearing, and this is a time where the public can come forward to make any statements they wish, and we have one. And it's all yours.
this will be my 4th location. I have 3 other locations in Sacramento, and I just opened this one up. It was closed for approximately 2 years, and I would appreciate it if you grant me to sell beer and wine in that location, because that'll help sales. It's being remodeled now as to being a 76 gas station. They're scheduled to remodel on Tuesday. It'll be down for probably about a week, and we'll, light it up as a 76 gas station, but it'll be well lit. and will obey all rules and regulations of the ABC and the City of Citrus Heights.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I will close the public hearing. And
So I have one question
Yeah.
for the applicants.
Yes, sir.
So I'm reading your security plan, 17 cameras.
That's inside and outside. We have it pretty lit and we have it pretty secured of previous break-ins and previous users around the neighborhood, we were told.
So you're located essentially the next block over from 7447.
7440.
Yes, exactly.
Nightclub. Okay. Just wanna make
Karaoke
sure I
club
got
down
it.
the street, yes.
All right.
Are you going to be doing a remodeling of the property and upgrading the building?
Yes, we are doing remodeling of the property. We were approved by the city. They're going to do a facelift on the whole canopy, the lighting, and the whole painting of the building.
Okay, all right. Are you going to, go ahead.
I just wanted to wish you luck with that location.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You have struggled there, but.
Yeah, it was a little struggle, but.
Well, I bought gas there already, so I just want you.
Oh, you did? So
Yes, I
you've been
did.
there? I'm the
I like your
I'm the
pricing.
cheapest in town right now.
Yes, you are.
Oh, is that true?
Until Sam's opens back up.
Exactly.
So
All
I do,
right.
one more question for
Yes.
staff. On the approval, typically when we do this with a mini mart, gas station, whatever, we put in there the single, I looked, is that in there?
Yes, it is.
Yes, he will not sell singles less than the 24 ounces, and wine bottles less than 75 milliliters. That's our, 75 milliliters, that's our standard.
So if they're going to walk out, they got to get a big gas
They
bottle.
gotta be big.
All right. Any other questions from the council? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move the item.
Second.
So move to second to approve staff's report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? You're in business.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Next item, please.
Next item is regular calendar, item number 10. The subject is approval of Sunrise Marketplace Property-Based Improvement District 2018 Annual Report. The recommendation is to adopt a resolution approving the Sunrise Marketplace 2018 Annual Report.
Mayor, can we move this to the end of the calendar? And, she's not in any hurry.
Yeah,
I think we're just about there. Good evening, Kathy Lynn.
I knew that would happen if I stepped out. Sorry. Good evening, Mayor, council members, Mr. Boyd, Mrs. Huber. Happy to be here this evening. You guys all have the annual report, so I don't have a presentation tonight. I know you had a long meeting and still have some things to go through. So I thought, if you don't mind, I'll just make a few remarks this year instead of giving a presentation. I hope the report speaks for itself. I hope you enjoyed kind of seeing a retrospective of the 20 years that we're celebrating this year and all the things we've done. Our story, Sunrise Marketplace's story, is a story of transformation, right, like the city. We're always evolving. We're about history, memories, and experiences. We have a long, successful relationship with our customers, our consumers. They provide the fuel for our economic engine, the city's economic engine, and hopefully we provide them with memories. We hear from them a lot. They can remember having, generational Santa photos. We hear from a lot of people who had, they had their photo taken when they were a little kid, and now they bring their children. So we're kind of the repository of a lot of those kinds of memories. Fireworks, people tell us all the time they remember seeing the fireworks in the district, concerts and tennis, holiday decor, and magical holiday moments. We're invested in our community. We work with HEART, the Chamber, and the Rotary, and I hope through that work we've made a difference in our community as well. So this year we're looking forward to, as I hope you've heard already, our first Brews in the Burbs Beer Fest event at Sunrise Mall on June 8th. So I look forward to seeing you guys out there drinking some beer. We're looking forward to it. We've sold out of our VIP tickets and are making good swift sales on our general admission. Net proceeds will go to the Citrus Heights Rotary to support their programs. And we're also excited, as you know, we've been talking a long time about beautifying our palm trees and medians, so we're really excited, and we thank the city, and we thank the city manager for all his hard work, the general services staff, and everyone who's been working on that project for so long. So we're really looking forward to bringing it to fruition. We were at Civic Lab last night with SACOG. It's a project that we've been participating in for the last 6 months, and we made our pitch last night for a $100,000 grant. So we're looking forward to be able to contribute that money toward the project. And we're also working with SMUD on a project to wrap our transformers with artwork around the district, and we should be rolling that out soon. I'll keep you guys posted on that as well. And we're looking at new options for new holiday decor, including, we've seen this in other cities, Baltimore, Georgetown, DC bid, Cincinnati, Burning Man is probably the best example of it, of pop-up, light art. So we're looking and exploring whether we can make some, really huge light art installations on roofs, in the public areas, walk-through types of installations. So we're exploring that right now. And as you know, our current term expires in 2021. We're in a 5th year of our 7-year term, and we're going to begin the renewal campaign. This year, we have our first PBID Renewal Steering Committee meeting on June 13th, where we'll begin to discuss how we want to move forward with the next term. We'll discuss assessment rates, boundaries, the length of the term, those types of issues. So we look forward to continuing to work to make our community better. And that's my report.
And you have, and I'm sure you will continue to do so.
Thank you. Any questions?
Anybody? Steve?
Where'd we land with the LED lighting of the palm trees? Will you be able to change colors? I know not as often as,
Yes, I understand we will
okay.
be able to do that.
Okay.
So that's something we're looking forward to. Through the Civic Lab process, one of the things they do is they invite vendors to be vetted and pre-qualified, and we have had a couple of lighting vendors that we sent to them and that they'll then pre-qualify for the process.
Great. Good to hear this
Okay.
moving along.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else, any questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval or move the staff recommendation?
Okay, I have a motion to adopt the resolution, which is staff's recommendation. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution to accept the Sunrise Marketplace Annual Report. Thank you, Kathy Lynn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. You opposed? Thank you, it carries. Next item, please.
Next item is number 11. The subject is purchase of former Sylvan Middle School property, and the recommendation is to adopt a resolution authorizing the purchase of the former middle school property and taking the steps necessary.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, Colleen McDuffie, Planning Manager. And I'd like to introduce Karen Tiedemann, who's with me here tonight, who's been our special counsel for this project. Here's the aerial that shows the site. The area in the red hatched area is the 11.44 acres that we are discussing tonight. You'll see there's a little notch out down here kind of close to the school. That is an area that the school district is reserving from this current parcel in order to provide for future expansion. Near the site, you'll see to the north we have the cemetery, to the west we have the school. There are a few single-family homes that abut it, and then to the south and then to the east we have general commercial uses. And of course, this site is really the beginning of our Auburn Boulevard specific plan area as well. Just some pictures here. This is one looking north at the site today, and here this is actually from the cemetery looking towards the south. So some brief background. It was back in 2014 that the San Juan Unified School District decided to close the existing, at that time, Sylvan Middle School and move it to the adjacent site, which used to be an elementary school in Auburn Boulevard. So that happened, they did do that, and then that resulted in 2017 that the original Sylvan Middle School was demolished. And also during that year, the San Juan Unified School District declared the property as surplus, which enabled the process whereby the city could purchase the property. So why is the city interested in purchasing this property? Here are three main reasons why the city might want to purchase this property. One of them is just recognizing what an important intersection Sylvan Corners is to the city, given its location. And historically and culturally, it really has strong ties to the city and visibly has a very great impact on our identity, really. Also, development here, whatever occurs here, is going to have a big impact on the city, given that very important location of this site. And similar to how we might see Studio Movie Grill be a catalyst project on the north end of the boulevard, I think you can see that this site really can serve as a catalyst on the southern end of the specific plan area. And it also, it really kind of will help emphasize the city's investment that we have already made into the Auburn Boulevard corridor. But perhaps the most important reason the city might want to purchase this property is it will allow us to have greater control in how this site is ultimately developed. So if the city did not purchase the property, another developer would. That developer would likely need to come to the city and get certain entitlements, rezonings, general plan amendment, and the city would have the, would be the approving authority for those. But in that scenario, we would really be in more of a reactionary mode. And by purchasing this property now, it's going to allow us to partner with the developer early on, and that will allow us to exert a lot greater influence into how the site is developed, how it's designed, how it's laid out, what it looks like, and how that will present to the city. So that is a main reason. It's just that it is going to give us much greater influence on the ultimate development of the site. Just about 1 year ago, we, in our discussions with the school district, we did a joint appraisal of this property, and that appraisal followed standard appraisal practices, and under that determined that the highest and best use of the site would be a medium-density residential use. And based on that, they determined that the value of the property is $3.43 million, and that's for an 11.4 acre site, so just under $300,000 per acre. Attached to your packet tonight, and really the action we're asking for you to consider tonight, concerns this agreement for purchase. So that agreement does include, as the sales price, the $3.43 million. So the sales price is exactly what that appraised value was. The process, if you approve this agreement tonight, soon, next week, in fact, the school district is going to be considering similar action then. And if that occurs, then there would kick off a 60-day, basically a due diligence period. And that's the period where the city can do any investigations or conduct any inspections that we want to just check out and determine that we feel comfortable purchasing the property. So, for example, we would conduct a Phase 1 environmental site assessment. We'll review the title reports. We'll review any piece of information we can during this 60-day feasibility period. If anything crops up during this time that concerns us, we are able to terminate the agreement at that point and receive back our $100,000 deposit. If in the event we do not, there are no red flags raised, everything is proceeding smoothly at that point, at the end of the 60 days, we would continue, we'd make an additional $50,000 deposit, we would go through the escrow steps, and by the end of that month, we would make our final deposit and finalize the purchase. And and own the property. In terms of financial, of course, there's a $3.4 million cost of the land. We estimate an additional $47,000 in other expenses that we would incur. We plan to purchase the property. We plan to utilize the city's revolving line of credit, which was approved recently by the council. And we're assuming we would probably hold the property for about 2 years in order to go through this entitlement process with the developer. That there would be additional interest costs as a result of that, just under $400,000. And then after that entitlement process is done, the property would then be sold to the developer, and we would utilize those funds that come from the sale to go back and pay down the line of credit balance. Next steps, just really briefly, so the next, if this is approved and the school district approves it next week, June and July would be our due diligence period. We would own the property near the end of August, and then September and October, we would be returning to the council to present our process going forward and leading to the issuance of an RFP or an RFQ to select a developer to work with on this project. So our recommendation tonight for the council includes several sub-items here. We are recommending in the resolution that you have that you authorize the city manager to sign the purchase agreement, that you authorize utilizing $3.47 million from the revolving line of credit for the purchase price and other related expenses, that you appropriate that amount of money from the line of credit into the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget, and that you authorize the city manager to take any other such actions that are needed to carry out the intent to purchase the property. So at this time, I am available to answer any questions, as is Karen.
Okay. Any questions from the council? I think we've vetted this pretty well over time. But, no? Okay. Well, then, with that in mind, since we have no further questions from the council, I would entertain a motion.
I will make the motion that's on the screen.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt this resolution and authorize the city manager to execute an agreement with the school district to purchase this property. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It carries. Thank you very much. Okay, and we have removed item 12 from the agenda, so next item, please.
Mayor, at this time, we are going to move to regular calendar item number 3, which is on the special meeting, which is currently being held concurrent with the regular meeting. The subject of that item is initiation of general plan amendment. The recommendation is to adopt a resolution directing the Community Services Director to initiate an amendment to the general plan related to the Sunrise Mall area.
Okay.
And council, I'll just briefly introduce this item by saying, we had agendized for the council to consider a moratorium on this property tonight, as we've pulled that, and instead, and in lieu, we are bringing this item to you now regarding amending the general plan. Really, the reason behind that is we've been involved in active conversations and looking at additional information and data. And, we're satisfied that at least tonight, taking this action is the best course of action. However, the council does have the ability and retains the ability and the right to implement a moratorium in the future if the circumstances dictate that. So we'll recommend that we hold that in our back pocket for now and take this action tonight.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions about this resolution to initiate an amendment to the general plan?
Move approval.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve staff's recommendation.
My only concern with this moving forward is that we go to great lengths to involve the public on this issue.
Okay.
Just want to make that
So noted.
statement.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then, again, we have a motion and a second to adopt a resolution to direct the community services directed to initiate an amendment of the general plan as it relates to Sunrise Mall area and do the necessary work associated with that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Carries. Okay, next item, please.
Next item is Department Reports, number 13. The subject is AB 626, Micro Enterprise Home Kitchen Operations by the Community Development Department.
Good evening, council. So this is just an informational item before you tonight that I wanted to brief you about. We'll be back before you a later point in time for more in-depth discussion and a recommendation. But what I wanted to update you on is AB 626, affectionately known as MICOs, which means Micro Enterprise Home Kitchen Operations. AB 626 did go into effect in January of this year. And it allows a residence, a home to be used as a kitchen enterprise, which means that you could cook, serve, and prepare, deliver, or have pickup food that you have prepared in your home kitchen to the public. So this is allowed by law, but what's unique about this AB 626, it is an opt-in or opt-out law, which means that you opt in to do it or you opt out to do it, but you need to do one of the two. The way the law was structured, it is based upon opting in or opt out at the health department level enforcement side. So whichever agency or governing body holds the enforcement of health, that is the opt-in or opt-out choice, and all jurisdictions within that area would follow. So for us, what that means is we use county health department, so that puts this decision on the Board of Supervisors. So whichever way they go to opt-in or opt-out, we would follow, the city of Rancho Cordova would follow, so all jurisdictions in Sacramento County would follow. So just to remind you, so this means that you could prepare, if you had a special talent or a special ethnic food or whatever it might be, and you would want to serve it to the public in some manner, you could do that at your home. You would receive one health permit inspection per year from the health department. Other than that, there's no oversight of the operation. And the local jurisdiction does not have oversight of it either. So it would be allowed in the residence, whether it's single-family home, whether it's a multifamily home, and we would have no zoning authority, we'd have no business licensing authority. The only option in the bill is basically related to noise, and we know how that is to enforce. So this has kind of started making its rounds in the news lately. It's been a few news items, so I just wanted to update you on that to let you know that we are working on it. We're meeting regionally with all the jurisdictions in the region, and the county is asking us to bring to them what our community would like. So at some point in time, we'll be coming back to you, expected in June, maybe early July. We'll have this on the calendar for discussion, and then I'll take forward your recommendations to the Board of Supervisors when they vote on it, which is expected in July. There's a cleanup bill that's kind of going through right now, expected to be signed in June, that kind of ties a few loose ends, but they're mostly health-related items, but so don't expect any changes from our side as far as any oversight as far as zoning. The one caveat in there is that they can do no more than 30 per day or 60 per week. So if you consider that oversight, that's the limit.
30 per day, what?
Pickups or deliveries, or have the people could actually come to your home and sit in your kitchen, dining room and eat the food.
Not likely.
So.
Question.
Yes.
It's up to the county to opt in or out. We can't, if they opt in, opt out,
Correct.
and we can't opt in if, of course, they're the authority having jurisdiction, so we can't opt in if they decide to opt out.
We all go in or we all go out.
All in or all out, okay.
Yes. So just a couple things I just want to point out. You know, why it is a little bit shocking at first. I just want to give you time to think about it, over the next few weeks. It could be one of those things that, you know, a few years ago, we thought about getting in someone else's car where somebody else was driving, just horrific. And now we do it all the time. So maybe an aspect of going to someone's house and picking up food that they cooked and taking it home, maybe we would adapt to it, shall we choose to opt in. So it is shocking, it does have a lot of pieces that, you know, could complicate it for the community, but there is a benefit, especially in areas where known food deserts, where there's no food available. You know, it is, that's the intent is to kind of put some food in areas where there might not be food choices. The cottage foods are allowed now and have been for a couple years, and they've been very successful. And those are the baked goods that you can bake and sell at your home, so like cookies and cakes and brownies, and that's been successful. But this does take it to the next level because there's no restriction on the food. It can be meats, it can be smoked, it can be all different kinds of things, and it can be cooked in your home kitchen with no improvements, so no special fire regulations, no special refrigeration. So it is different, but we will continue to work on this. And in the meantime, the next few weeks, if you have any questions from the community, or if you come up with any questions that you have, send them my way, and when we come back to you in the formal presentation, I'll try to answer all those.
Thank you. Thanks, Ally. Next item.
Next item is city manager items, and we have none. So the next item is items requested by council members or any future agenda items.
Anybody have anything?
I have two, but they're pretty brief. One, don't need it tonight, but maybe the chief could give an email follow-up on the use of force. I hear that particular AB bill didn't get out of committee, but I could be wrong on that. I don't know what I heard, so if you could maybe send us an email to the council on the update on that, that would be great. And then the second thing, maybe the city manager can pass on to general services. So there's a lot at where Van Maren and Garden Gate kind of meet. I believe Caltrans owns it. It's kind of a funky lot. It's a corner lot. There's a little bit of parking lot, and the rest is a field. It's right next to the it's below the off-ramp at Antelope, but it's on Van Maren and Garden Gate. And the grass is probably up to my waist. So if we could, again, if it's Caltrans, I think it is. It might be Caltrans and partially the school that's there, KinderCare. Again, I don't know which one. I know Caltrans owns part of it, but if we could maybe get somebody to follow up and, you know, tell them to come out there with a mower, might be good.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. All right, no other business? Then I am going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you for coming.